In a previous video of mine, I was pointing out how there's huge trees in older art, and I just wanted to see if I can find some of that in this book that I got from either a library book sale or a thrift shop. I don't know what that title means, but this was this is 1878. I don't understand why this camera is such bad resolution, but it says 1878 over there. Okay, 1989, okay. Alright, so I guess the original print. But, look at that. And of course this is fair use for educational purposes. But imagine living in a time where things were like that. Big trees. I think that alters people's brains as opposed to having buildings around and electricity zapping you, Wi-Fi zapping you, people's stupid chemicals that they wear on their clothes and on their bodies zapping them. So something also is I don't know how realistic, true to form any of these illustrations are, but I find the topic of mud floods interesting, and also mud fossils. And it's my theory that the Freemasons, they were the people in charge, so they traveled, and they probably saw the evidence of the giants. I mean, not only did they know, but they probably saw it, and they probably changed the look of the land in order to hide the biblical truth of the giants. Okay, so this, we're not seeing. How come we're not seeing rooms on the first floor, right? This is so smart. It's like what, maybe 7 or 10 feet high, that first floor, right? Now this one could be almost looking like a little bit of a mud flood, but still no silly first floor windows that floods and burglars and raccoons could break into. So if this was done so long ago, right, 1800s, I mean, look at those structures. Like that technology, as some mud flood researchers have pointed out, to build like that. Sorry about stuff in the way. But doesn't this almost affect your brain to just look at this idyllic scene? Compared to concrete and traffic and whatnot? And I'm just looking for either evidence of mud flood, fossils, but I also think that this vast perspective, look how tall that tree is on the right hand side. think that shapes us. Like when everything is like so stunted, I think that affects how humans behave, as opposed to when there's like a tree that's like 300 years old, or an unspoiled part of the landscape. So I guess this is, I don't know German. I don't know if this is German, but this looks like this is Salzburg. And isn't that kind of interesting? That little like arch, like art. I don't know if that could be a residual mud flood. But just, oh my goodness, like that rock up there, so exquisite. And again, so these are old structures, if this is any accurate representation. And okay, so that there is like an arch over there, but that might be part of some sort of river mill kind of thing. But otherwise, being that they're right next to a river, they don't have a window right where it could flood. And I just, like, in terms of, so I have training in feng shui, and in terms of feng shui, these are just such, I feel like it's good feng shui, with, when there's like people in a picture and animals as well as nature in buildings. Oftentimes you'll see like, it'll just be a picture of a landscape, and, just the buildings and the nature. And I think that when you have animals and people, humans are on the earth. Art is for humans. It's not for like the birds to look at. It's not for dogs to look at. So I don't understand why sometimes like what's favored art is like they always like remove the people. So, these might be just contrived sketches, because compared to the photos in my previous mud flood investigation video, this doesn't seem to have any of those bottom dwelling rooms. I think this structure is quite interesting in terms of Mud Fossil University. I don't know, like, what Mud Fossil University, Roger Squirrel says that mountains and certain formations are remnants of giants. So I don't know what part of anatomy that would be. Like, this is like the golden age, like before Satan fell, perhaps. So it's called Die Schorbenberg. So, that may be mud flood. And here's another room. So it looks like they went hunting. Schwarza. It's like, why would anybody who lived in a place like that go to war? Right? Like, is life just too good? No, I think. Sorry, my hand's getting tired. So the quality of these sketches, it's kind of like this hazy style, so it doesn't even have the most fine detail, even looking at it. These are really grand though, aren't they? There's another ruin. And does that not look like a mud flood? Totally. Talk about the mud flood kind of picture. Because it's mud that like broke through here, covered this. You know, they did not build it all weird like this. So I'm just trying to see if I can make sense of this. Like, yeah. Yeah. You know, the lighting and the pixels are not so great, but, right? That's definitely, I'm gonna dog ear. Don't cringe. It's my book. And, you know, what? I wonder if there's something underneath there. That's like the first cut tree, right? It's almost like foreshadowing. And this seems to be the cover picture, which I wonder if it is almost like a Freemasonic hint, because it's like the bull, the horned bull, bow, and with its backside clearly facing, you know, like why have that picture be the cover of the book? There's a lot more beautiful pictures, and the cover is worth looking at closely. So we have that bridge. I mean, the picture is definitely clearer, more defined. Okay. And is this another? Is that Mudflooded? I don't know. I don't know if that's just, if they just built that on the top of a hill. But it does seem kind of like an incomplete structure, just like two towers in the middle of nowhere. This is more of a complete castle. And it's interesting, like, there's this arch. Doesn't that even look like a skull right there? So this might be a ruin. So, artists capture concepts, so maybe this idyllic, maybe it wasn't this lovely when the artist was doing this sketch. And this is interesting, so the tree just broke naturally, as opposed to that other tree that was cut down. Here's a little city. And even though this looks like a sapling, that's probably that's a pretty big tree. It's almost like a tour of Germany. Like a travel guide. And is that a mud-flooded structure? Looks like it to me. Because who would build a house and then shore it up with a bunch of soil on the side? But I could be wrong. And I'm sure I'm missing things because I'm trying to film this and analyze at the same time. This is particularly interesting though. Look at that. Look how, that's quite a building, right? Quite a few stories. Like a palace. There's an interesting barge. Too bad we don't have any atmospheric electric masts that were sketched. So beautiful. It looks like almost a close-up of the barge. So if you guys are seeing something I'm missing, just make a note of it in the comments. So we do have spires. And notice there's no chemtrails. Not to say there wasn't weather manipulation in centuries past, but because that's what Mudflood was, it's a weather manipulation. It's an interesting structure. And both of these images are not that clear. I wonder if that's why they didn't give them a full page. I don't know, do we see these? Oh, these must have been like kind of, they're like watercolor, maybe concept ideas before the illustration was made. Like, I love these images where there's like a huge primordial tree, and then there's a human being for scale. It's like, you know, this is like a ancient tree. So that image was 1735. Almost at the end. So this looks like a photo. $18.95, and it looks like it's like the Pacific Islands or something. I think this is even though it looks like a photo, I think it's a drawing. Very realistic though, huh? So that's the end of that, but yeah, I just wanted to share. Thanks for watching.